Coach, when you're playing a team that does so many different things well, do you try to just take one or two of those things away, or is it more of an overall approach?
Most of what they do is going to end up at a ball screen. We'll have to guard ball screens. We got to guard ball screens, and we got to rebound the ball. They played a game. They got 8 offensive rebounds in their first 13 possessions. That's pretty good. They really rebound the ball at the offensive end.
The challenges of playing during finals week, obviously you already had one game in the middle of it, but trying to sort of compress all the scout into a day or two, is that difficult?
Finals week's difficult, but compressing it, I mean, we basically play every couple of days from now on anyway. So, well, basically we've played every 2 days for the last 5 years. So. It's difficult because these guys don't, how do I say this? Their attention to detail is not near what our other guys were. You know, you could ask Kevin Jones anything, and he knew what they were doing. You could ask Devin Deepak anything. Day. They're just their attention to detail needs some work. That was pretty diplomatic.
Absolutely.
See, Bob, I have matured. You don't think I have? Oh, God, I have matured.
You amaze me. You mentioned work ethic the other night too. Is it sinking in with them, do you think?
We got something done today. And I thought we had good practice today. We got something done today. Yeah, I mean, this is a finals week's a hard week. I mean, it is a hard week. I mean, you got guys coming in late. You got guys leaving early. You got, it's a hard week. Try not to play the finals week. Our schedule, guys got screwed up. TV, we play 21 national television games. We play 21 national television games. Your schedule's going to be screwed up.
Along with your schedule, I mean, I know you wanted to test this team early, but few WU teams have had this many road games to start the season. Has the road just affected your team more than you thought it would? Can that factor into shooting woes and not being able to get in a rhythm, just playing so many away games? Or
I'm not of the opinion that I hear well, you got to shoot more in the Coliseum because of depth perception. I grew up shooting on a hoop that was nailed up to the house. I can shoot. And I tell our guys all the time, I mean, people play better at home, I think, but it's generally, I think it's more because of routine. You don't get out of your normal routine than it is anything else. When I first got here, it was like I said, we're going to go win 2 on the road, and they looked at me like, what? But I mean, I think all the hoops are still 10 feet high. Foul line's still 15 feet. People talk about crowd. I've never seen the crowd make a free throw, get a steal, block a shot. I mean, I think it's a state of mind. I really do. And I think good players and really competitive guys Van Exel said one time in Cincinnati, got everybody all riled up that he'd rather play on the road, which, you know, we had to then come back and clarify what he meant. He didn't mean that. It wasn't, people took it like he didn't like playing in front of a home crowd, or they weren't as supportive or whatever, which was none of that. His whole thing was, like, used to love to go in a pyramid and shut 16,000 people up. You know, used to love to go in the, whatever that place is in Chicago, in front of 14,000 people and shut them up. Now, he did stuff that, you know, I wish he wouldn't have done. Like, you know, he hit a three and he turned the crowd to go. You know, or he, you know, he'd hit a three and he'd go. You know, on the road, which I wish he wouldn't have done that stuff, but at the same time, you got to admire his confidence, you know, and his competitiveness. So.
The detail things that your team is not executing sometimes, is it a matter of they do it sometimes and then forget and get away from it, or is it, are they not getting those things at all?
I guess you could argue they're not getting much of it. You know, I don't know. So Walsh College, and we bring guys in to visit, and the guys that wanted education, the head of the education department was a nun, Sister Maria Lane. And we'd go in and she'd literally hand you a piece of paper and pencil and told you to take notes. And, you know, over a 3-year period, I'd been in there a few times, you know, so I go in there, she hands me for about the 10th, 15th time, piece of paper and pencil. And I said, Sister, I don't think I need this. She said, oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do, son. She said, I found that the more senses that you make people use, the more they retain. And I've never forgotten that. You know, we put things on the board. We hand out a written scouting report for them to read. We put all their sets on an iPad for them. We watch film, and then we go out on the floor and we go through all their sets and everything. And I had a guy he was a great player. He was a 2-time first-team All-American. And left after his junior year, and a 3-time first-team All-American. And we used to go in, he used to drive me nuts because when we were doing the scouting report on the board and all that, he never paid attention. And I watched the film, he was great on the floor. So I said to him one day, I said, man, could you just humor me? You know, act like you're paying attention. I mean, I know you're not, but just kind of act like it for me. He said, Hugs, come on, man, you know I'm dyslexic, I can't see that. And he was. You know, my point is I think different people learn different ways. You know, our academic dean at Walsh, when he became the academic dean, he thought it was really important that he went to basketball games and showed support and all that kind of stuff, which we were pretty good. And he came in my office one day, he said, can you give me a book on basketball, because I have no idea what you're doing out there. He said, I watch, I try to learn, I can't. He said, if I have a book, I can learn. So I think that, to me, reinforced the fact that the more ways we can give them the information that we want to give them, the better chance there are that they retain some of it. Now that the X factor in that is you have to want to retain it. It has to be important to you.
Bob, off the topic, what's your views on what's
You
going on?
like that topic?
I love that topic. That's learning.
Am
You know me.
Am I boring you? Am I boring you?
No. Different topic. Big East coming apart. The Catholic schools breaking out, and what's going on with college basketball and the Big East and Cincinnati and Louisville stuck there. I mean, how's this going to work out, or how does it have to work out?
I mean, you know the answer. It's money.
You know, I know why it's happening, but
It's money driven, and the hell I can say it, I guess, because I don't care, and two, what are they going to do to me? We've given conference commissioners too much power. And I mean, in all honesty, that's where all this is coming from. This is conference commissioners, and we've given them too much power, and this is the result of it. I mean, it's money driven, don't get me wrong, but they're the ones who are, you know, continually pushing the issue. You know, and you know, Bob, it's sad in a way that we've thrown rivalries and really fans out of the equation that have meant so much to athletics for so long. And you know, it's people look forward to the Pitt game. People look forward to the St. John's game and going in the Garden. They look forward to the Big East tournament. They're going to look forward to going to Kansas City, but it limits, I think, it limits people that are not as economically well off as other people. You know, you can't drive to a conference game and drive back and go to work. I'm just, and I, you know, Bob, I say that, and I'm old, you know, I mean, I've been doing this, what is 31, 32 years, whatever it's been. I've been a head coach that long. So you know, I think my perspective is a little bit different, you know. I love playing here. You know, I love playing here when I played here. I love playing Pitt. I love playing Virginia Tech. Because it was a rivalry and people were excited about the games, you know. I love playing Notre Dame when I was here. It's so much more fun playing when there's the hype and the enthusiasm, that kind of thing.
Coach, how is this, you were talking about good practice today, how has this team responded since the Duquesne game, and you know, are they ready to go up to Brooklyn tomorrow and play the number 3 team?
I think we are. I can't guarantee you we're going to shoot 50%, but I think we're going to go play.
Bob, a lot has been made of the shooting, but is defense and rebounding where you want it to be? Either seems like sometimes it is, but other times it's not. Is that
it
fair?
hasn't been as consistent as what we need it to be. But I rebounded again at Duquesne. They scored 6 points outside the paint. That's not very good. It hasn't been as consistent as what we need it to be. But you know, and you know, having Ronnie around is you know, he gives you a little different perspective. We're getting ready to play Marshall, and I'm like ready to, you know, lose my mind. And he said, Hugs, he said, you know, he said, and Ronnie's not an excuse maker. I mean, he's not. He just said, you know, I think sometimes we forget. We've got a lot of guys out there that have never played here. You know, I've never. So, you know, Matt Humphrey's a 5th-year senior. You'd think but he doesn't know how we play. Eric Murray, Jawan State really they've never played the way we play. They played, but they haven't played the way we play. So you know, you think about that sometimes, you know. And then he said to me, he said, Hugs, he said, I know they're like driving you crazy, but I mean, think about this. You lost an 1,800 point, whatever every 800 rebound guy. And you lost another guy who scored, what, 1,300, something like that? 1,300 points in his career. You know, you lost guys that played in the Final Four, that have played under, you know, a lot of pressure, a lot of duress, and know what it's about. And I think, you know, from that standpoint, you know, I think he's right.
Burke, their key.
Yeah, he's got the ball all the time. Yeah, they, you know, John's always had great spacing, and they run really good offense. They spread you, you know, but it's easy to spread people when you shoot it the way they shoot. They got a guy shooting, I think it's 56% from three or something like that, 56, 58% from three. That has a tendency to spread you now. That's a little different than guarding a guy who's shooting 2 for 18. But at the end of the day, Burke's going to have it. They're going to ball screen. If you know, kind of guard everything else, at the end of the day, it's a ball screen. It's not any different than anybody else. It's, you know, I mean, sometimes we think that people have, you know, they run, and everybody does run different offenses and all that stuff. But at the end of the clock, it doesn't matter who you play. It's going to be a ball screen. Now, whether it's, you know, whether it's a side ball screen, whether it's a flat ball screen, it's going to end up being a ball screen.
What about Hardaway? What does he give them? Some size and athleticism?
Well, you know, he's different. He's different than most of their other guys. He can put it on the floor. He's the guy who gives them somebody who can penetrate it. Burke can penetrate it too, but Hardaway really looks to penetrate it. And he's a guy who gets it in the lane. You know, I mean, they rebound the ball really well because they ball screen all the time, you know, which creates 2-on-1s. And then it kind of turns their bigs loose at the goal. And they rebounded because Hardaway penetrates. And so when you penetrate, you draw help, you take big bodies off of big bodies. Everybody does the same thing. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's not like whoever's a genius. I mean, we all do the same thing. We all steal from each other. You know, we all do the same things. And, you know, it's just how you get into it. You know, they do a great job with false motion to move you. But at the end of the day, they do the same thing everybody else does. It's just they can spread you because they make shots. I can remember we were playing Villanova. What did we score? 14 at halftime. We score 14 at halftime. We come back and win the game. And I get on the bus, and I'm like, now I'm going to have to hear how, you know, we can't run offense because we scored 14 points. And then we got the Michigan score. They had 12 at halftime. You know, that's what they say all the time. It's not the X's and O's, it's the G's and the Joes. That's very true. They've got really good players, and he does a great job coaching. You know, our job is to try to put them in a position where they can be successful. You know, put them in the right places to be able to do what they do best, and he does a great job of that. And he's done a great job of that everywhere he's ever been. When he was here, he didn't have guys like that, so he played different. He's not doing the same stuff. And that to me is a sign of a great coach, is somebody who adjusts with personnel.